Waiting it out for a quota bag. Yes, I feel your pain and suffering. It is wonderful shopping at Hermes and finding a whole array of amazing products that you do love. But if you do also share the dream of having a quota bag and you're waiting it out and you're getting impatient and you're wondering why isn't this happening? What am I doing wrong? I have a bunch of things that I think we need to discuss about some of the reasons why you don't have your quota bag yet. Some of you may realize, am waiting it out for a quota bag at the moment. I do feel that I have reached the point where I should be eligible at this stage. And for those of you that don't know, at Hermes, if you do want a quota bag, and that consists of a Kelly or a Birkin, and in some places a Constance bag, you can't just go in and purchase the bag whenever you want to. You do have to show a certain amount of loyalty and spend. Whether or not they do actually put this out in the open, I think that Hermes is a little bit hush hush about this. But the only way to really show loyalty to a brand is by spending and going into the store regularly. It doesn't mean that you have to buy something at each time that you step into the store, but it does mean that over time they do need to see on your profile that you have been a customer that has made some reasonable amounts of purchase. Let's have a chat about some of the reasons that you don't have a quota bag yet. The first reason why you may be waiting a long time is that your wish list is too specific or too difficult. So if you've given your SA maybe only one or two things on the list, or if you've made it very, very narrowed down, so you've said to them, I only want a Birkin 25 in the Cellier style, in rose azuré with only palladium hardware, and I'll only consider this. This is the only thing that I'll accept. It's going to be really hard for them to be able to get this bag for you. They don't see what you have put on your wish list and then go put an order in. No, from that moment that you put your wish list in, they will try and keep an eye on some of the shipments that come in and see if your bag comes in. Now, the chance of you getting something in a non-neutral color that's extremely specific like that is going to be very, very difficult. And it means that either you're going to have to be extremely patient and you could be waiting a year or 2 years, or you could possibly never ever have this quota bag come through and your pre-spend may have been for nothing, or you may be extremely disappointed and then you do get offered a bag, but because you keep holding out for this very specific bag that you want, you keep declining bags and your SA just keeps then putting you further down the list of the times that they're going to want to offer you a bag. It is okay to decline a bag every now and then, but I think if you do decline way too many bags in a row, it's going to put doubt in your SA's mind. Do I actually know this customer? Am I doing right by them by offering them this bag? So I think it does help to keep your options a little bit wider open. Also, I find that some people will get stuck on one sort of leather that they're trying to obtain. So they only want a Chev or they only want Swift because these are harder leathers to obtain. It's much easier to get a Togo or an Epsom bag. So Chev is in the goat skin. We do know that goat skins, it's hard to get large sheets of this leather. So if you're asking for like a Birkin 35 or a larger bag, it's not going to come in. It's going to be really, really hard for it to come in because they're going to have to wait to get a sheet of leather that's going to be big enough, which is very hard to come by. And then the chance of them turning that into a Birkin 35 in the color that you want, in the palladium or whatever hardware that you specified, you're just going to be waiting forever. Now, there are some SAs that are nice enough that will say to you, look, do you want to expand your options a little bit more? It's going to be too hard for me to get this in. It's very unlikely. But on the other hand, you do have some other SAs that'll be like, yep, okay, well, this is your wish list, okay? You just tell me what you want, and then if it comes in, I'll get it for you if I can get it for you. And they might not even say that they might just have that conversation in their head. They'll write it down, and you'll just find that your bag never, ever comes. So I think it's always great to perhaps do a ranking. So if there's something that you really do want, look, some people do get very lucky and they do get the bag that they dream of, the ultimate dream. But I think it always helps to have maybe a 2 and a 3 and maybe even a 4 there. And that way your SA can keep an eye out for a few of the other options, and maybe you'll get maybe second or third on your list this time. And then in the future for your next quota bag, if something comes up down the line that does match your number one, then yes, it's there for you. The other issue that you might run into is that you may be really set on a color that is not in season. And if the color is not in season, they're just not making bags in this. And it means that you can, again, write this down. They'll let you write whatever you want down on your wish list, but it just won't come. So if you're looking for some colors that aren't going to be in, such as, you know, something like a cyclamen or a flamingo, well, honey, you're just going to have to wait. It could be years before that bag comes in. Your pre-spend's going to be done by then. I think it always helps to pick seasonal colors as well as the neutrals. So they do have the new colors this year for this season coming in: the gris argent, the blue hydra, the blue tie, and the rouge radio. So those colors, they're going to be making a significant amount of items in these shades, and I feel like your chances of getting a bag really do increase if you're asking for something that is in production a lot. Of course, the neutrals, they do make a significant amount of those, but the demand of those is pretty high too. I mean, everyone wants a black Kelly or a black Birkin, don't they? So just because of demand, it can be harder to get those, but I think keeping an open list and having some neutrals as well as perhaps some seasonal colors will really make it so much easier for your SA to offer you something. Also, if you're going to be asking for rose gold hardware, permabrass hardware, hardwares that often don't come in on regular bags for us regular folk, but are generally held for special order bags, you're probably not going to get that. It's extremely hard to obtain those sorts of bags. So I think it's best, if you're trying to keep your options a little bit wider open, put down your palladium or your gold hardware, and then you can put a special note on there. You know, if something in a special hardware does come through, please keep me in mind. On the contrary, you can be too wide in your selection and options for your wish list, and it just comes off as desperate. So your SA just can't pinpoint what you want. You've said, I'll take anything. Give me anything, I'll take it. A Birkin, a Kelly, whatever size, whatever leather, whatever color, I want that. And they're going to get confused. They're not going to know what to offer you. And they're also going to be worried that you don't really know what you want. There is that very high chance that when they sit you down and offer you a Birkin in a large size, for example, maybe a Birkin 35, and it's going to be in a bright hot pink color, that you're going to try it on and be like, oh, hang on, wait, this is too bright, this is too big, it doesn't quite fit into my lifestyle, perhaps I didn't think this through enough. And it's going to put you in an awkward position. You're going to have to decline this bag. It's going to put your SA in this awkward position where then they're going to have to go to the store manager and say, she declined this bag. She did say that she wanted anything, but we're going to have to maybe rethink and offer her again something later on. And whether they come back to that or not, it's hard to say. So in order for your SA to be able to think of you when a bag comes in, you need to have something that is slightly more specific than that. You need to either narrow down a size, narrow down a hardware, narrow down a style, a retin-a or a cellier, something to give your SA a little bit of direction. So that way they will be able to give you something that, one, that you're going to love and enjoy, but two, they're going to feel like that they're on the right sort of path to giving you something that you're going to appreciate in the long term. What will impact your journey towards a quota bag is if your journey is too slow. So Hermes is going to be offering these special bags to people as a reward for their enthusiasm for the brand. Now, how can you show enthusiasm for the brand? You can show it by having some knowledge of the leathers, of some of the history, going in and being keen to learn more about the brand. Of course, they're not expecting you to know everything completely, and part of the fun of a shopping experience is going in and learning more and educating yourself more about different things related to Hermes. But That's one way. The second way is a way that we need to come to terms with, is that the main way that you can show that you love a brand is by spending at the store. And in essence, the bag is a reward from your SA for saying thank you for shopping with me and showing loyalty and coming back to see me all the time, coming back to seeing this store all the time. And thank you for being such a great customer of Hermes. So even though you do hear many stories of, yes, there are people that get it without any pre-spend, yes, there are the unicorns that get it occasionally for an extremely low pre-spend, but I think the main story that you'll hear from the majority of customers is that there does need to be a substantial amount of spend made before you are rewarded with the bag. And so I feel that it doesn't matter which sort of country you're in, apart from, of course, the UK, where they are on a true wish list system where you just put your name down a list, and if your turn does come up and your wish list hasn't expired, then you will get it. But for most countries, you will need to spend a certain amount of money in order to be offered a bag. And I think that's completely fair, because you need to be able to show that in essence you are sort of worthy of having this bag and you do really love it, and you're not just going to sell it on to make a quick buck. So sales assistants don't get commission from these bags, and that's why it is a true thank you from your SA to be offered one of these bags. They get it commission from other items such as ready to wear, and a small commission from small leather goods. Now, it is hard to say exactly for each store. Even at each store, there is variation between SAs. So it's hard to say exactly what the ratio of what you need to buy to be able to be eligible for a bag. And when we talk about ratio, for example, a 1-to-1 ratio, we're saying that you should spend the cost of the bag in other items. So you need to buy some ready to wear, fine jewelry, up until you reach the same amount that you would be spending to purchase the actual quota bag. And I feel that based on what I've seen from other YouTubers, from other friends, from people from many various places around the world, that you most of the time need to hit a minimum of a 1-to-1 ratio in a couple of years. So it's widely known that your history that they will look at to see if you are eligible for a bag usually spans back from the 2 years that you've been shopping. So within 2 years, you should hit 1-to-1 at the very least. And if you're spending a minimum of 1-to-1 ratio, and in fact, if you're spending anything at Hermes, you really do need to make sure that you do find happiness in whatever you've bought, so that if you walk away without a bag after everything you've done, that you will still find joy in that product. Another reason you haven't been offered a bag is that you're buying mainly at airport stores. So airport stores do not have quota bags. They do have other amazing bags such as the Garden Party, the Pinkerton, the Ruley bag, all lovely bags that are meant to lure you in and increase your love of their other beautiful bags. But it is hard to establish relationships at these airport stores. They're meant to be transient purchase stores. So you're often just going in to have a little bit of fun before you leave for a flight, or as you're heading back home to your home country. But they aren't meant to be there for you to see the same SA all the time. They often have transient SAs too. So SAs will move in and out of these stores very, very quickly. So it's very hard for you to stay with the same sales assistant and to be able to have that connection that's ongoing. If you are shopping at an airport store, you might be going in mainly because the advantages are is you get a tax-free spend, or you're finding something that you've waited for ages from your SA that you're quite in love with and you just haven't been able to get it in your regular store, or you're just having a fun splurge. You just want to go in for some retail therapy, you love Hermes, there's something in there, in the moment you just decide to buy it. But they're really meant just for the casual shopper. They're not meant for establishing that long relationship that will lead to the offer of a bag. Now, there are some SAs that will tell you this at the airport store, and they will say to you straight up that if you do ask for a quota bag, look, we don't offer these here, but can we offer you something else in this style, blah, blah, blah. But there are some other SAs that won't say anything like that. And if you're happy to spend, they're quite happy to support you there, and they won't bring it up unless you explicitly ask. So I do know some people that have continued to shop at airport stores and then have been confused. Why am I not being offered a quota bag? And because there is this hush hush about, can I ask about a wish list? Can I ask about a bag? People are scared to ask, and because they don't ask, they don't get the answers, and they don't realize that they're not going to be offered a quota bag at the airport store. So certainly do shop at the airport store to have some fun, but if you're going to be in there specifically for a dream bag, or you're working your way towards something particularly special, the way to do it is at a proper store outside of the airport. The last reason is you don't have an adequate relationship with your SA. It's extremely harsh, but sometimes the relationship you're having with your SA is non-memorable. They just don't remember you. They are filtering through hundreds of other customers. You're just someone that maybe falls a little bit below the radar. And I find that your relationship with your SA is like a romantic relationship. Sometimes you click with people. Sometimes there's that spark. You just can't really describe it. And when you do have that spark with your SA, it does mean that they're going to remember you. They're going to keep you in mind. They're going to try and source out certain products for you. They're the ones that they're going to go to talk to about with their sales manager and try and offer you a bag. Store manager, sorry. So it is unfortunate. There is a lot of human judgment in the world, and it could be something random. Perhaps they don't like the way that you speak. They don't like your attitude. It could be none of those reasons. Maybe it's not that they don't like you. It's just that they just have other customers that are way more memorable than you. And I think for that reason, if you find that you're getting some funny feelings and you don't feel like the relationship is quite right with your SA, it is absolutely 100% true, 110% true that if you don't have a good relationship with your SA, you are just barking up the wrong tree. You're going to be spending money. You're not going to be offered a quota bag. So you can keep throwing money at that problem, but the problem is not going to go away. So if there's been any sort of negativity between you and your SA, if there has been just no mutual fun feelings when you're going in for your appointments, I think it's time to cut your losses and to move on, and either to buy a bag from the reseller market or to try fresh and start again at another store if you're finding it awkward to move on to a different sales assistant within the same store. The thing is, your SA and your store manager, when they met you, they probably had a preconceived idea in their mind of what they wanted you to pre-spend before you got the bag. So it doesn't matter what you do to try and change a relationship that is broken. If it's just not going in the right way, you're just going to have to move on from that. The only way that you have a chance of superseding all of this and making your way onto their priority list or changing their opinion of you completely is by doing something crazy, by buying something absolutely out of this world in the fine jewelry area or in the ready-to-wear department, or buying so many products that it amounts to a huge amount of spend. And I think in that case, if you did have the budget for that, I would probably just move on anyway, because you're going way over your pre-spend anyway. You might as well to go to a SA that's going to appreciate that pre-spend and is going to keep that in mind and try and offer you bags faster in the future. So because this has become quite a long video, I do have quite a few other points to mention about reasons why you don't have a bag yet. I think I'm going to put these into a second video. I do want to thank you for the great enthusiasm that I got about my previous video, which was related to the mental toll and obsession of shopping at Hermes and how it does seem to consume your life to a certain extent. And I really want to thank those that reached out and checked if I was okay. Look, it does sometimes seem like a little bit of a hostage situation. I am fully aware of everything that's going on, and I am still having fun. Look, on the balance side of all this anxiety and thinking about it, I do still really enjoy my Hermes shopping experiences. I don't go in there stressing or worrying, or it's not eating me inside out. I think that, look, I'm really enjoying it. Like, there is that level of anxiety and worry about, is my journey going in the right direction, but I am really enjoying it. I still do adore my products that I've bought. This is something that I will continue to do. I'm bringing you guys on the ride with me, so keep your fingers crossed. Let's hope for some good news coming soon. And I will have the next video for the part 2 of this up next week, and I will see you soon. Bye. Guys, I've just pulled into a parking spot and I've taken out my phone to check it, and I have the message. Yes, capital T, capital M, the message from my essay from Hermes. So I'm going to make a time to go see him next week. He said that he has something amazing to surprise me with. I sure hope we're on the same page with what I'm expecting and what he's thinking of, and I will keep you guys updated. But I just couldn't wait to tell you guys, so I'll let you know. See you soon.